fornication. They leave and be like, man, that lady don't know what she's talking about, man. I don't even know what fornication is. You gotta get on their level. You gotta say, look here, bro. You know what I mean? You've been sleeping around, you know what I mean? You've been getting down. You got to tell them the dirty.
That's right.
You know, we be going over there trying to use all these big words, lasciviousness. You know, you're suffering from that. We like, man, I don't know what these people talking about. That's why when they first came to me, I didn't know what they were talking about. I was like, man, they called me a fornicator. I was thinking about beating that man up. I was like, man, I'll put these things on him. He called me a homosexual again. When you come out of the world, man, you don't know church lingo. Oh man, you don't know church words. You be like, man, I don't know what these folks talking about. That's why when you go to preachers and they don't discern their crowd and they preaching all this mess, all this theology and trying to be heady, and you sitting there like, man, all I want to know is how to get little Ray Ray out of my house, man. Ray Ray won't leave, man. I'm telling you, I'll change the lock. Ray will climb through the window. I tell you talking about all this, God is going to come down on a cloud with a silver horse. And I'm like, Ray, man, tell me about Ray. That ain't no good for nobody who's going through something. That's why I was telling people, talk to me about what I'm going through. Don't talk to me about what you know. Amen? Amen. Moses came and he left the palace, came down and began to herd sheep the sheep of Midian, which was Jethro, and as a result of him being faithful, Jethro gave him his daughter, his oldest daughter, to marry. Amen. And you got to understand that you always got to show faithfulness before God will trust you with something that is worth something to him. Amen. Y'all don't want to talk. That's all right. Because when a man come to get my daughter, he gonna have to be right. I'm telling you. He gonna have to be rich, but he gonna have to be right. Oh my God. Because my daughter is worth something to me. My God. You can ask the women in the church. I be putting these men on. They be putting their women on layaway with me. They were like, hey, Pastor, I think I want to marry son such a. I be like, well, we gonna send her to the side for you, So let's send her to the side. And when you get enough, spiritual currency going on up to God, I let you have her. I'm not going to let you come get my daughter with your, being a heathen, being a liar, being a cheater, still smelling like liquor, cigarettes on your breath. I'm not going to send my holy daughter into that environment. All right. That's right. Man, y'all need to mind y'all business, man. And she gonna marry me, that's all that matters. That ain't all that matters. What matters is if your marriage gonna be successful. What matters is if you gonna rule like a king. What matters is if you gonna have the mindset of a priest. What matters is if you gonna treat her like a church. What matters is if you gonna provide like Jesus Christ. Oh, it ain't about Jesus. Go back up in there. One time, baby. My wife said, go back up in there. That lets you know I take care of her on me. Amen. See, if I was preaching like that and I ain't do right at home, she'd be like, but I'm handling my business at the crib. All right. Ain't nobody get cut off over there, baby. Ain't no cigarette smoke in my carpet. Amen. Amen. That let you know I'm doing right. She's like, going up in there, honey. Some men of God wife be like, be gave him away. He lying. Moses came down and he was faithful over the sheep. Let me tell y'all something. If you're ever going to allow God to give you a husband or a wife, you have to be faithful over the things that God have already given you. If God told you to mentor somebody, you got to be faithful over that. If God have given you kids, you got to be faithful over those kids. If God has placed you in the church in a position to rule over people, you got to show God that you're faithful in what he have already entrusted you in before he give you the desires of your heart to rule over. Amen. If you want to take care of your kids, what makes you think that God's going to give you a man to take care of? Come on. That's right. think God don't give you a woman to take care of? You eating at your mama's house. Why he gonna give you a woman that comes stay at your house where there ain't no food at? I'm just saying what I'm saying. You can take it how you want to take it. You can say this ain't even my subject, and I'll say it is. It's my story. When your time to preach, you tell your story. But Moses began to be faithful. Even coming from an Egyptian mentality, you can tell that the Spirit of God was in him, because most people have been too high-minded, coming from being the Pharaoh's son and having everyone else to serve them, to come back down and serve nasty sheep.
Go ahead.
See, some people are too high-minded to get saved.
Go ahead.
I ain't gonna follow no man. Them church folks ain't gonna be telling me what to do. Ain't no man gonna rule over me. You're too high-minded to get saved. So you have to change your mindset. You got to be willing and obedient to eat the fruit, the good of the land.
Amen.
Moses came down off his high horse and started serving the sheep. And then God talked to him. Oh my God. See, there's some people that are in here today been waiting on God to talk to you, but God been waiting on you to empty your high-minded mentality out so that he can have a conversation with you about what he want to talk about. See, the whole time you've been talking to God, you've been wanting to talk about what you want to talk about. The Bible says that you can pray amiss because you look to consume it upon your own lust. That means that you are not even allowed to go into God and pray from a lustful heart. That means that God will not listen to you until you start talking about what he wants to talk about.
Amen. Amen.
So once Moses got, humbled, God decided to show up and talk to him through a burning bush.
Amen.
Which brings us to where we at right now. Read, Brother Kwame. Start at verse 1.
Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh hither. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.
Stop right there. It says that the reason why Moses paid such attention to this bush, not because it was a burning bush, because in the desert it was common to see that things would be on fire. It was hot, it was dry, you could catch a bush fire at any time. That was not the amazing sight. The amazing sight was that this bush did not burn up. People, it is a common theme for you all to have problems. It's a common theme to argue between husband and wife. It's a common theme to not have enough money. It's a common theme for people to be sick in this day and time. Amen. That's not anything fantastic. But the problem is when we see people who are in the midst of that stuff but still standing. See, it's uncommon to find somebody who is going through something but still praising God. It's uncommon to find somebody who's been sick for years and years but still drag themselves to church like they was just as well as the other folks. It's uncommon to see folks that stay in church even though they ain't got enough money to pay their rent, they still pay their tithes. See, it's uncommon to see that. Come on, go ahead and preach. So when people begin to see that church folks is not, different from them, but go through the same thing that they go through, but respond different, people will start coming out their houses to see the burning bushes. See, the